Well, the weekend has just started, and this is just only part one. So today I'm just gonna do a two review episode plus some news updates for everybody because I know everybody wants to hear what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, and I think we're gonna enjoy it. But for our first review, we got ChocoPro 255. As you know, Emi Sakura is back. She participated in the Phoenix Rises event. Now, for the record, I haven't seen that particular event yet. I know they're going to upload that in YouTube soon enough. I just don't know when, but I will be paying attention and keeping my eye on that. This one features, of course, Mia making her official ChocoPro debut. And also we have Kid Lycos, who just made his debut in also Phoenix Rises, but this time now he makes his debut here. And as for our second review, we have NWA USA. As you know, we continued on with more on the national title qualifying match, but also we have a bit of a rematch from NWA 74. And there's a lot of good things that took place on that particular on NWA USA that we definitely need to review about. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 255. Now, as you know, we have some exciting news that took place. We recently had the Phoenix Rises, as I mentioned before. I haven't seen that event. We had the return of both Emi Sakura and Baliyan Akki. As you know, Baliyan Akki was on a two-month tour in the U.S., and I'm sure he had a blast being there. Now, our first match, we have a one-on-one match. We have Sayuri taking on Yuna Mizumori. Now, we hardly see Sayuri in singles matches because, you know, she doesn't have that much of experience. But I think my favorite match I ever seen her in singles competition mostly was with Mei Shruga, where, you know, there was that whole thing with her being the evilest person ever. But yeah, but I have to say, Yuna Mizumori, we all know her status. She's a bit of the powerhouse in ChocoPro. But I have to say, Sayuri hold her own regardless of sizes. Now, the only thing I know for a fact that Sayuri does have the advantage is the speed, but it was nowhere near match her until finally Yuna put her in a submission move. I rarely see her use submissions in her matches, but that was effective, and of course Sayuri had no other choice but to tap out. Now, I cannot describe the kind of submission she did. It was very unorthodox, but it worked. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Sayaka Obihiro teaming with Mei Shruga, taking on Mia and Emi Sakura. Now, I want to put this on record now. Mia is the newest girl who just made her appearances. She has been seen on many of the ChocoPro events as part of the exhibition matches. She's done matches with, of course, with Mei Shruga and Chiko Shikawa, but her instructor is, of course, Mei Shruga. Keep that in mind. But in the Phoenix Rises, she had an important match, which was a very surprising one that I failed to mention the last time I reviewed the ChocoPro. It turned out that Emi Sakura was returning to Japan and put herself in a match against her. I don't know if she wanted to test her, see how much she has learned. But like I said, I haven't seen that match. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. Once I see it, I'll give you guys my thoughts and review on it. But anyway, the match itself, as you know, it was okay, basically. Now, we know there's like a lot of Mei Shruga, what she can do in the ring, how she handles things. But however, I know she has bounced from different partners, but her best partner we all know is Baliyan Akki. That's always been the clear set right there for us. But I have to say, Mia did a good job, you know, how to say, handling the whole thing. But of course, the only X factor is this: Mia is the weakest link in her team. That's an X factor right there. So basically, Mei Shiruga took advantage of that and used it in her own way by stomping her and then, of course, giving her the pin. Now, did I think Mia did a pretty good job? She did, but I think she has a long way to go to get to that. And I'm sure she's part of the fifth generation of girls in Gatoh Move. So we'll see what happens then. Now, our main event, we have Chikoshikawa and Baliyan Akki teaming up to take on Masahiro Takanashi and British very own Kid Lycos. Now, if you guys don't know who Kid Lyco is, I mentioned him before on Rev Pro events. He has made his appearance here in Japan, teaming up recently with Chris Brooks during a DDT event, calling themselves CCK. Not to compare them to CDK with Chris Brooks and Masahiro Takanashi, but this was a very interesting matchup. And of course, recently, Kid Lycos has on Phoenix Rises made his debut there too, and now he's making his debut in ChocoPro. But he did mention to the fan base that he was happy to be there. But the sad part was this was his last day being there. So basically, he's on his way back to the UK, which is sad. I'm sure everybody would like to see him back. But he has this idea of a wolf. I have to say this match was one of my favorite ones of it because it showed like Lyca's had this other unique way. Like, if you guys ever seen Antonio Inoki, what he does in the ring, when he does this thing where he talks and then does that, just pokes everybody's in between the eyes, including his own partners. Kid Lycos is like that. But the one thing I did not anticipate is how this match was overturned, where he actually kind of missed water into Chikoshikawa that gave Amasa the chance to pin her by rolling her up, and 1, 2, 3, that kind of finished it. So it was very interesting. Of course, I'm sure Chi and Baliyan are questioning the whole thing, how that was, but it is what it is. Now for our Jonkin tournament, I was surprised how this was going to go. Mei Shiruga somehow was able to make it all the way through. But, however, I thought Baliyan was going to be there since he came back. Kid Lycos, on the other hand, as you know, as he's the weakest link of Jonkin, he had no clue. He lost his match against Mei Shiruga, but he said that he likes Kid Lycos, but she doesn't want to be friends with him because he's friends with Chris Brooks. We all know that story. If you're friends with Chris Brooks, I can't be your friend. So basically, Kid Lycos has to dump Chris Brooks if that's the case. But no, he lost his match, but he asked for one more shot. But not to continue with the tournament, but more like understand it. Now keep in mind, foreigners don't know much about Jonkin. It's like rock, paper, scissors, but in a different pace. If you follow it, you know what I'm talking about. If you guys ever been to Japan, you know they take that whole thing very seriously down there. But it was, apparently he lost again. Now, in the finals, we reached Masahiro Takanashi and Mei Shiruga. They went at it a bunch of times. They drew the same rock until finally, I had a feeling she was going to paper, but all of a sudden, somehow Masa must have figured out that same tactic and used scissors and won his match, winning the chocolate. So I thought it was a pretty good event. So, but like I said, Mia making her debut. We'll see what happens from here on out. I'm not sure if there will be another ChocoPro event the following day, which is a Sunday, but I'll keep apprised of that. So right now, I believe it's time to move on with our next review, and I think it will be our last for the time being, NWA USA. Okie dokie, NWA USA. It opened up with the national title qualifier match. We have Anthony Mayweather, who was a former NWA national champion, taking on Thrillbilly Silas. Now, this was a very interesting matchup. We know that these two men are hungry for that match. Now, some of you might have thought in your minds, just like I did, the match is going to, of course, Anthony Mayweather, since he's the most experienced one. Well, that did not happen like I thought it did. I was surprised that Thrillbilly was able to pull it off because he pulled off a thrill ride, which he picks up his opponent on the side like this and then spins them around. 1, 2, 3. I was surprised. I did not anticipate Thrillbilly to win this match, but the honest question does remain: does he have what it takes to win the whole thing? That's the obvious question, but it's the unanswered question we need to that is going to be. We will find out who else is qualifying, but we'll keep moving forward from that. Now, our next segment we have is a interview by May Valentine interviewing Chris Silvio and Jack Stain. Now, May Valentine, we all know she's just doing it, but Silvio, that little snake, in the other hand, doesn't give a straight up answer. He's not too thrilled at the fact that he lost the national title and all this, but apparently there was another reason. Now, May Valentine, she can smell it. So she asked her, why are you really here? So Chris Silvio said that if things don't go well for Jack Stain, then that means he's out of there. So Jack Stain kind of reassured, if things don't go well for him, then he's out. But it's because right now Jack Stain is acting like a sore loser who lost the national title to Zion. I think that's the problem that he's facing. Now, our next interview from May Valentine is William Patrick Corgan, the boss. He talked about certain things, like, as you know, Ricky Steamboat is now kind of like helping out, trying to set up matches for a purpose, like who will be the ones most likely could be potential challengers for the NWA World Title, Junior Heavyweight Title, and all that. So I think I get what he's trying to put. I think that's something that the NWA needs. They need those type of things that many people deserve, and I think that's why it fits perfectly. Now, our next match is the battle of third generation wrestlers. Well, they call it second generations, but they're third. We have Kerry Morton, son of Ricky Morton, and AJ Kazana. You know his dad, Joe Kazana. It was a pretty good match because it showed, okay, these two families might have interacted with each other in the past. But the obvious question is, which of the families will most likely be going to the top? And I have to say it was a pretty good one. I was impressed with Kerry Morton. As you know, he did a somewhat of a jumping knee strike onto AJ and won the match. And of course, AJ showed his respect to Kerry. But he's nothing compared like Colby Corino, who acts like he is the true generational wrestler, that sort of thing. Now, once again, we get an interview with May Valentine. Now, the obvious question is who most likely could be the one to, how do I say, dethrone her. That's always been, as you know, we almost been a year with her as our current NWA Women's Champion. So no one has the audacity to dethrone her. I think that's the thing with her. So we just don't know who has the courage to dethrone her. But the next question that May Valentine is about Tom Latimer. Now, as you know, Tom Latimer is dealing with this whole thing with EC3, but she asked, or what is the one title should Tom Latimer be pursuing? And it was a no-brainer for Kamille. It was, of course, a no-brainer to me, the NWA World Champion. I mean, he's been there since the revival, and I think it makes perfect sense. But the obvious question is, right now he has an obstacle to go through, and that obstacle is EC3. So we don't know much what's going to happen since then. And then we get another interview with May Valentine, this time with Jake Dumas, Magic Jake Dumas, and of course CJ. Of course, people want to know what the hell is with these two. What is their relationship? But Jake is not going to talk because he'd rather keep it close to the vest until they were interrupted by the Fixers and Matt Vane. They were trying to hit on CJ, and of course it kind of went down there, but Matt Vane decided to step up to deal with him. So basically, Dumas was not sure if he should do it, but we'll see what happens then. Now, our next and final match is a bit of a rematch from NWA 74. Caprice Coleman taking on Chris Adonis. Now, keep in mind, last time these two faced each other, Coleman did not tap out. He passed out. So basically, he is trying to learn from that mistake. Basically, trying to ensure that. But the obvious is, will he finally beat Chris Adonis, or will he just either tap out or pass out? That's the obvious. Now, I thought it was a pretty good moment, but however, it was just too much because Coleman's back was the actual target. As you know, that's the weak point, and it did allow for Chris Adonis to apply the master lock using that. But Coleman tried to get away from it, tried to reach the ropes, but no go. And once again, he passed out. It was over. So there's that. Now, there's other things I want to mention that I failed to mention on this part of the episode. Bully Ray, as you know, it has already been sanctioned that he will be facing Mike Knox and VSK. So basically, we don't know who his partner is. But apparently, there's people who are lining up to turn out. Now, keep in mind, Bully Ray is not the easiest person that would team up. Now, if you want to know who I would think would team up with him, there's only one person right now I can think of. It's not going to be just Devon. I have a feeling it's going to be Tom Latimer. Because, Tom, as you know, he understands Bully, tries to help out his wife, Kamille, and I feel like he probably owed him one. I'm not sure. But we'll see when that day happens. And what else that took place? Oh, yeah, Tyrus, now I remember. Now, there's still unanswered questions about Tyrus, as you know. Last on Power, we saw him walk away. He didn't take the NWA television title. Now, keep in mind, when he was still the television champion, when he's as a current television champion, he had one goal in mind, and that is to carry 2 titles on with him. He failed with the NWA World Heavyweight title recently on 74, but most likely he could cash in the NWA World Television title to get that. But the one thing is, I think he's putting a rock in a hard way. He's like, I don't want to lose this title, but he may have no other choice. So we won't know until we find out what's going to happen on Power. So we'll be waiting on Tuesday to see what's going to take place. And I think that's pretty much it with NWA USA. I believe it's time to do our last thing, and that is, of course, news updates. Okie dokie. Welcome to our news updates here. Now, Fightful Select reported this, and I have to say I'm very happy for this. As you know, we know Shotzi Blackheart. We know her from NXT. Now, those who know her longer, I have to say I liked her tank since she was in NXT. Now, since she moved up to the roster, the real question we've been asking, what the hell happened to her tank? That's the thing. But Fightful Select reports it's returning. I'm sure we're all happy for this. But Shotzi even mentioned this before, and I have to agree with her on this. No one told her what was the specific reasons why they wanted to take away her tank. We never got no specific answers. Hopefully, we can get those answers, because look, we got to keep in mind, this was during Vince's time. He was making decisions that kind of makes us feel like, what the hell? That kind of way. I get it, but right now we needed answers for that. But now that the tank is back, since the changes with Triple H at the helm, it kind of felt right. So I think, yes, bring back the tank. We need it. Now, I mentioned this about Kamille already. As you know, she is the current NWA World Women's Champion. It appears that she issued another challenge, but this one is a good one. As you know, at NWA 74 on NWA 74, she had 2 matches. One of those matches involved Taya Valkyrie. And now here's the really interesting part. She issued a challenge to Taya Valkyrie for the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. So that means she will become Kamille 2 champs, if that's the case. So this match will happen. It's going to be at, of course, Triple Mania, which I'm looking forward to it. So I'm sure this is going to be good for the NWA to have someone represent their company, head out to AAA from Mexico. I think that's going to be a good thing. Now, as you guys know, AEW has been happy to have a guy like Konosuke Takeshita being part of the roster for a time being, even if he was only there for a couple of months. Now, I just saw this on a tweet by Konosuke Takeshita. Now, if you guys know this, there's been recent matches involving AEW stars and with DDT stars and of course Tokyo Pro. But he also put this tweet out, and I think I find it very interesting. This is what he said: I have one more goal in mind. One day I would like to do an AEW show in Japan. I have learned that Japanese fans are eager to watch AEW fight. I started running that today. So it appears that we have Japanese fan base who are now getting into the AEW bandwagon. Now somebody's saying yes, but the obvious question is, are they really into it? That's the obvious question. So Konosuke Takeshita is saying, yes, my return from Japan, people are telling me we want to see AEW come to Japan. And he said, and now he's saying that he's running with that. I think he's talking to Tony, trying to say, when can we have AEW come to Japan? And I think that's a good thing because, as you know, recently there's been talks about going to Canada recently. There's been ones where they're going to the UK. Japan could be a good thing as well. So, I don't know, and I feel it's going to be a great thing for them. Now, for our final review, I know we mentioned it, and many of you don't want to talk about this guy or don't give a damn about this guy, Velveteen Dream. Now, you guys may have heard about what's been going on. EC3 hasn't revealed that Velveteen Dream was recording him and all this, and then of course and then he put out a video setting the record straight that that wasn't true, all this and that, accusing him of this and that. I don't know if he's trying to plead his case, trying to return to W. Now, keep in mind, he has been already in trouble twice before this whole thing came out. He's probably asking for a second chance, but it looks like it's not going to happen. So WWE has no interest in bringing him back, and I can understand that. I mean, you don't need this kind of guy in your company that could be a problem, and I think that's the good thing we need to understand. WWE are being smart. They don't want to get in problems or have fans leave them saying, we don't want this guy here, he's a creep. And I think that's important. WWE are looking into it. But Velveteen Dream, he's like trying to get his life back together, but now it's like he's getting into a heated argument with EC3. So that's one of those things that I'm hearing. The thing is, I can't tell who's telling the truth. Is it EC3 or Velveteen Dream? Is it he said, she said type of scenario? So if there's any more information about that, I'll put that out. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have New Japan Strong, if that's going to happen. But there's a good thing. There are some new videos that I can watch on Watch Pro Wrestling. As you know, GCW did 2 events recently, the last 2 days. One at Liverpool and the other one with TNT Extreme Wrestling. I haven't seen those yet, but hopefully I get that chance to do that in the next episode. And then after that, I don't know. But I think we're just going to stick what we have right here for now. And we'll see what happens then. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.